A while back, I reviewed Resident Evil Operation Raccoon City and called it the worst game I've played that carried the Resident Evil name. After playing Umbrella Corps, however, I'd have to say that this game has officially taken the honor of being the worst. You might have noticed that I called this video a sort of review. That's because I played a quote-unquote demo that was available on PlayStation 4 for a single weekend. Now I know what you may be thinking, why would you review a game based on the demo? Normally I wouldn't, because that isn't a fair way to judge a game's quality. But this demo was actually the full game available to play for free on that single weekend. Kinda like those free weekend things that Steam does from time to time. So in a way, I pretty much played all that Umbrella Corps has to offer. And my god is it terrible! Umbrella Corps is a third-person multiplayer shooter that Capcom decided to slap the Resident Evil name onto. Oh wait, they actually removed the Resident Evil name from the title over here in the West. It's like they already knew that this was a bad idea or something. Anyways, the game has a few tutorials that teach the basic fundamentals of how the game plays and such, and once you're all done with that, you'll notice that the online multiplayer contains a whopping 2 game modes! Well, technically 2, but I'll get into that in a little bit. One Life Match is a 3v3 team deathmatch mode where, if you die, you have to sit out for the rest of the round. Think Gears of War or Counter-Strike, but without the fun or excitement that comes with playing each round. It's basically what you would expect from the mode's namesake. Multi-Mission, on the other hand, is another 3v3 mode that changes the objective of the game after every round. This can vary from killing the VIP targets, holding control zones, holding a briefcase longer than the enemy team, among other modes as well. This is why I said that there were 2 game modes technically, because Multi-Mission offers more modes than what the multiplayer menu leads you to believe. And that's it! There's literally no other multiplayer modes aside from these. No free-for-all modes, no modes that hold more than 6 players, nothing. Oh, there's also the single-player mode called The Experiment, but that isn't even worth talking about because it has you do the same thing over and over again. You kill AI enemies, steal their DNA samples, and do nothing else. The DNA sample shit was even an objective that's available in the multi-mission mode from the multiplayer. It's a waste of time, and I couldn't give a shit about the Wesker tease because that doesn't make any fucking sense. There aren't that many maps to play on either, a majority of which are based on locations from the mainline Resident Evil games. Places such as the Spencer Mansion, the RE4 Village, the RPD Building, and even Antarctica from Code Veronica. It's an obvious ploy to put some fan service into the game instead of trying to construct maps that work for this kind of game. Hell, I played Code Veronica not that long ago, and there were very few locations in the map that actually matched, while the other 70% was just bullshit to make it work for the game. It also doesn't help that spawn points on some of these maps are terrible, placing you right next to enemy players in some cases. This only applies to multi-mission, however, since that's the only mode where you can respawn. Now how about the actual gameplay? Well, for starters, the controls are decent, surprisingly. I never really had problems with the aiming, and it seemed responsive. It felt better than the aiming did in Operation Raccoon City, that's for sure. However, I have heard that the PC version had it way worse with the controls, so keep that in mind. Everything else gameplay-wise doesn't fare much better. The cover system is almost useless at times, and so many ideas that the tutorial showed off, such as shooting while bracing a door or having a zombie shield, are never needed when actually playing. Even the zombie jammer is pointless, because most of the time when you destroy one on the enemy, you will most likely have killed him already. It's not like the AI monsters are even a threat in the first place. They're mostly there to just fill up empty space on the map. You even get a melee weapon that can one-hit kill pretty much anything, including other players, so don't be surprised to see players running around trying to kill you with the brainer. You can rank up to unlock more weapons and such, but that is such a standard thing in multiplayer games now that I'm not even going to talk about it that much. The game also has some slight mobility involved, where you can climb up high walls or go prone to crawl through things such as air vents. Speaking of which, your crawl speed is faster than you would normally think, and it looks absolutely ridiculous in the game. It's like having a rollerboard on your stomach when you're in elementary school gym class. Also, the third-person camera is probably the worst I have seen in a while. It is placed way too close to the player, almost like it's stuck zoomed in if this were any other third-person shooter. But nope, That's the default, as zooming in brings your gun into iron sight mode, which gives me Devil's Third flashbacks. I'll give Umbrella Corps this though. At least its aiming isn't Devil's Third levels of janky. It also doesn't help that the perspective makes everything on the player model look terrible. Seriously, no human holds and fires a pistol like this. Ever! At least the graphics aren't terrible. I mean, the game doesn't look amazing, but it at least looks decent for what it is. It was made using Unity, and after all the low effort trash I've seen using Unity, this is actually an alright looking game. But what is terrible is the music used in the game. I mean, just listen to this. Yeah, this is exactly the kind of music I think of when I hear the name Resident Evil. This might actually be worse than the main menu theme from Operation Raccoon City. I didn't even think that was possible. The online performance isn't that great either. Matchmaking sometimes doesn't even work, and sometimes lag can mess up some of the matches, although thankfully that didn't happen that much during my playtime. If I'm being honest, while there are a few things that Umbrella Corps did do better than Operation Raccoon City, Umbrella Corps still manages to be the worst spin-off title I've played from Resident Evil. The fact that Capcom used this travesty to celebrate the 20th anniversary of this franchise is just insulting to the fans. I have faith that Resident Evil 7 is going to turn out good because it is actually looking super promising. Even though RE7 is also celebrating the anniversary, why couldn't it just be that game celebrating it? This game has absolutely no reason for existing. Please don't fuck up RE7.
Tell everybody, go tell